Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2023 Mazda 3 2.5 turbo all-wheel drive hatchback. Yes, we finally got a 2.5 turbo in the Mazda 3. Now, even though this looks like a Panda, I can bet you this thing has the attitude of a polar bear. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We get started in the front, and yeah, we can see this thing is mean looking. It's got definitely an attitude. So first of all, the paint, the color, this white is unbelievable. I thought the red looked good. Mazda reds look good. Yeah, the white looks incredible. There is, and it's a shame I can't translate that to the video, but there's such a fine sparkle to this. It looks very deep. It's a very deep white color. I love it. Yeah, I thought red was gonna be the color I'd want to get it in, or that gray, because that gray is just so nice that you can get this in, or white. You know what? Any color you get from Mazda, it's gonna be good. Put it that way. But it does look great. Then we have the LED headlights. These things are incredible. They are adaptive. They look really nice. Again, the eyes are the gateway to the soul. Yeah, the headlights are the gateway to the soul of this Mazda, and it just looks really good. What's cool about these turn signals as well with the headlights is that when you turn the turn signals, it's not a on off, it's a kind of pulsing cool effect to it. So it almost makes this like if it's alive. it gives it life to it. So I do love that little element there. We have the black grille here, which is nice. We love the fact that this has that design there. We have the lower little lip there, which looks great in black. The trim looks so good. We have the front facing camera. This front facing camera has been great. It's super clear. We have a hard button. Yes, we have a hard button for the camera, and it's been great because this thing sits low. It really does. And we may want to make sure that we don't bust this little guy down there. So thankfully the camera has been helping with parking situations. But overall, this thing looks mean. And gosh, this grille pattern is just so good. Well, let's go ahead and see what is under here. We get under the hood and we have the 2.5 liter inline-4 Skyactiv G turbocharged engine. It is cranking out 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to the 6-speed auto and then to the Mazda all-wheel drive system. Now, a couple of things with this. The engine, yes. I remember reviewing the gray Mazda 3 hatchback, and that only had the naturally aspirated 2.5, which I loved. It was great. It was unbelievable in that package. So if you're worried about, you know, not having the fun in a non-turbo 2.5 trim, don't worry about it. That was such a great package. This though, it's even better. I hate to say it. Yeah, it's so much fun. And I remember mentioning that as a fun, you know, just extra, hey world, this is us Mazda. I said, let's put a turbo in there, and you guys did. Thank you for that. And it works really well in this. It still has that boxer engine sound to it, which is nice. The turbo works really well. It spools up really nice. It actually behaves more like a supercharger as far as power delivery. You don't feel a surge of power. You feel just more of it all the time, which is kind of what you want. I mean, turbos are fun when they kick in, but the drivability is gone at that point. So I do love the fact that we have that, you know, power delivery and torque kind of delivery as well. The only thing something is different is the transmission. The gear seemed a little long, and I know it's not that it's slow, the 2.5, because I'm looking down at my I'm looking down my speedometer. I'm like, whoa, we are gaining speed. But the gears just forever, especially second gear to third seemed endless. So yeah, maybe shorten them up and have them be a little bit snappier would have been a nice feel to it. As far as the power distribution to the wheels, yeah, I had a little bit of an incident, which we'll discuss when we talk about the wheels and tires. but I don't think it was more on the power distribution. I think it's more on the tires. But overall, though, this has been a nice, fun engine, and I'm so glad to see we got a turbo in this great 2.5 because it really is a fun little engine. Actually, a pretty big engine for a 4-cylinder. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at those wheels and tires. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and we have this nice 18-inch wheel, and it is wrapped in the 215/45 Bridgestone Turanza tire. Now, a couple of things with this. The black, yes. It looks a little gray because it's dirty. We've been driving this. We've been having a lot of fun in this. But I can assure you the black is really, really nice and shiny when it's cleaned up. But it looks great. I love the design. I love the size of it. It's black against the brilliant white looking color. So yes to that. The tires, no to that. Yeah, these tires have been extremely noisy. I hate to say it. They've been extremely noisy. With this being the all-wheel drive model, so obviously all four wheels can spin. I was in a roundabout and I was not even going that fast, and I had it in sport mode, which I thought was that, and the rear kicked out. The rear kicked out like a very rear-wheel drive, biased car, which is fine when I wanted to, but when I wasn't pushing it enough for it to do that, it was alarming. It really did. It kind of woke me up, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? So I did have to correct. So I don't like these tires. The grip is okay, it's not there, but the noise, it whistles. They whistle. The whistle goes woo woo, but the tires go like that. And it was in the smoothest of roads too, and in bumpy roads, just once you get up to speed, the tread pattern must be causing that to really, really make these things super loud to the point that I had to really blast the tunes to kind of tune out that whistle from it or that whine. But yeah, brakes are great. They feel great. The pedal's unbelievable. And yeah, the suspension is great. I love this suspension. It's nice and stiff, but it's bearable for everyday driving. My wife loved it. Every time she drove this car and came into the house, she's like, yeah, that car is just so much fun to drive, and it really is. So let's go ahead and see what we have on the side. We get to the side, and man, this is where it just gets even better. This side profile is so good. Again, if you just kind of look at it, roadster. It has the roadster proportions, which is crazy because we saw that in the CX-50, an SUV, and we have that roadster feel to it, where we have in the front, we have a fairly long, obviously to scale, and very similar again to the Miata, that just to scale. So relatively longer hood, cabin area kind of in the middle, maybe a little bit more towards back, and we have a shortened rear end. Yes, that's what the Miata, I should probably superimpose the Miata and and this right on top of each other, because yeah, it's got that side profile to it. It looks great too. So let's get started in the front. Again, we have that big hood. We see the headlights kind of peeking out a little bit there. We have the nice 18-inch wheels, which you can see this car rides kind of low. So they fill the wheel well though. 18 I think is definitely the way to go. Just needs better tires, it really does. So we have that there. We do have the black mirror options with these. The black framing looks great. Down here we have the side skirt, which I love this design. It's kind of like a flat surface. It looks like a step. It's not a step, so make sure you don't step on it, which is pretty funny because those are the side step styles that I ordered for my Miata project. So yeah, I love this. So the fact that we have it in the 3, definitely the way you want to go. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about. The roofline, it's great, but it's not very functional. This thing is really short. It's not that tall, and that makes the window really tiny. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have gone to get fast food, but it was a pain to get anything through this tiny opening. That's probably my biggest complaint with the design. it looks great, but functionality wasn't 100% there. And same thing with this rear window. The rear windows are small. My wife kind of said, I don't know in a case of emergency what you're gonna do to get out. And I said, we're gonna have to go through the front because this thing is really tiny. So yeah, lay off the tacos a bit for that. But the rear looks really good. I love this line here. It just looks really, really nice. We have the shark fin antenna up there, which looks good. We'll talk about this guy in a little bit. And we can see the taillights peeking out a little bit there. But overall, this is a really nice design. Now, key fob is in my pocket. I'll go ahead and reach, and it unlocks. And I can go ahead and open up. I'm good to go. I can go ahead and close there. It does have a little option there. And now reach the back, and there's nothing in the back. So you gotta do that, unlock there, and you can program it so it's only just the driver to unlock. But yeah, you're able to do that, and it's still unlocked, so you guys can see that. And when I walk away, it will lock. So let's actually head this way to the back. We have this rear spoiler that just looks so nice. My favorite thing, it's black. We have the openings under here, so it's not just a spoiler that's right on it. So it does have the mounting points on the side, and that little area just adds a little bit more to the coolness of this rear spoiler. Now, we come a little bit lower, and this window, it's nice design, but again, the viewing area is really tiny. So it sometimes was hard to kind of see out the rear view. We have the windshield wiper here. Definitely, I like better what we have here as far as cleaning with this rear wiper. So nice little touch there. Then the taillights look really nice. They look mean. Let me kind of turn them on, see if you guys can see. But we have the rings that just look so nice. It has a nice mean design to it. I love the fact that it comes off of the body line there. Just a great design language there. The Mazda badge, that's where you have the opening for the hatch, which we'll get to in a bit. The rear down here, love the black design on this bottom part of the bumper. And we have our dual exhaust tips, which yes, they do connect to the exhaust. So those are true muffler tips. So yeah, overall though, this looks so incredibly good. Now, I go ahead and I'll open this up, and this is nice. So there is actually a good amount of space back here. We do have some depth to it. I would say probably about the size of my hand. So it's a good amount of space going down, which is really rare to see in these vehicles that, you know, have an all-wheel drive system, because a lot of times they'll just have the all-wheel drive system just kind of kicking up and basically eliminating any depth to your basically trunk area back here. But yeah, overall it's nice. You have a good amount of depth that way with just everything. It's a good amount of space in there, so I do love that. And now one thing that I did like about this is how you close the hatch. So we have this here, and it's pretty effortless. you don't need that much force. So the way that the shocks and everything were designed was actually really nice. It's that small attention to detail that when you notice it, it's like, whoa, it's just so much more rewarding. Yeah, it's really a nice rear. Now, key fob, I wish it were rewarding and giving me remote start, but unfortunately, I don't have it, which is nice, because if I have an automatic transmission, just give it to me, or yeah, just make it easy on the key fob. Well, let's go ahead and hop in for a ride, and let's have some fun. We get inside of the Mazda 3, and this thing just, Mazda interiors are untouched right now. They really are. There's just quality is up there for what you would consider more a consumer brand than really a higher end, like extreme luxury. But they deliver that extreme luxury and extreme quality at a consumer level. It's insane. It really is. It looks unbelievable. So let's get started. We get started on the door, and we can see we have those red accents with the red leather and the stitching. It looks so good. We have the armrest at the bottom is perfectly ergonomically placed because I can have my arm on the bottom armrest, and my hand immediately on its own falls on the controls for the windows. Yes, it's crazy how good like this is designed. Like I fit perfectly in this. And then we have the upper part of the door that's comfortable as well. No issues there, no complaints. I do love the positioning up there as well. The finishes though, this leather is just so nice. We have the Bose sound system, which sounded so good, blasting our tunes in this week. No complaints. And typically I'm not a big Bose guy, but yeah, they've set it up really well in this Mazda 3. Then we get to the seats, and yes, we have the red leather interior. These things look so nice. They're nice and comfortable. They're big boy friendly as well. I can position them in the way that I want. It's just been really nice. Heated option has been a godsend this week because we've gotten 30-degree weather all week in the mornings. So definitely needed to get these guys warmed up. But overall, these things look great and they feel great. No complaints. And they kind of keep you in there as well, which is good, especially when you want to have some fun with this. Then we get over to the steering wheel, and the steering wheel is where I wish it could have had a little bit more red in it. Yeah, but we do have a good wheel. We do have nice leather. The leather is so soft. It's so comfortable. The stitching is black. I would have liked the red, would have been a nice touch to this, or even have like red parts either at the top, bottom, or the sides, because it is kind of sectioned off into different kind of designs to this. But yeah, overall, the steering wheel has been a nice feel to it. We do have the radio controls on the left-hand side, and we have the cruise control settings on the right. We have the paddle shifters in the back, which are nice and comfortable, really easy to reach. They're a little bit smaller as far as like vertical goes, but they're still good to kind of reach over. It's not too bad of a reach there. Then we get to the gauge cluster, and yeah, I'm waiting for something new, Mazda. I really am with this gauge cluster. It's lackluster. It really is. So we have the analog gauges on the ends showing the tachometer and the fuel gauge with the temperature gauge. And then in the middle, we do have a digital speedometer, but it's a digital screen with an analog gauge face to it. So we have the needle, obviously. We have like 3 different settings. We have the lane departure, kind of traffic distance in front of you, that kind of stuff there. Then we have nothing, and then we have your MPGs or your driving information. It is really lackluster. I want something else. Give me something exciting, something different in there, or just redo I don't even need to redo the whole gauge cluster. Just give me something in the middle, something different, something more important than just that stuff. Yeah. Then we get over to the infotainment, and this is another battle. I'm sure many of us reviewers and owners of Mazdas are kind of complaining about. We have the infotainment system, but we don't have a touch screen. No, yeah, at least not in this one. I know in the CX-50, we were a little bit better because we did have a touch screen at slow speeds. On this one, we got nothing. We really have nothing. Like, it's not touch at all. And I wouldn't mind it because it's not too far, maybe a little bit closer to me, but it's not a bad looking screen. It's a nice slim widescreen that I love. It looks great, but no touchscreen. We do have Apple CarPlay. It is wired though. No wireless Apple CarPlay. Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. I wish it did have that option on this. Then we come a little bit lower to the AC controls, and these AC controls have started to be one of my favorites that I've driven, because I've driven about 3 Mazdas within about a month or so, and I've been really liking the simplicity, the very straightforward, no having to go into like super deep menus, just in your face or on your feet or on the windows. It's just very simple setup, and I love it. Only thing is, yeah, the temperature gauge on the left-hand side, or the temperature knob on the left, is kind of long, so it does cover up the steering wheel heating button. But I've learned to know that it's down there now. We come a little bit lower and we have a little cubby area here. It looks like, I'm trying to remember, this has a option for wireless charger, but that looks like that's where it would go. And that's typically where you'd want your phone to go as well, to just kind of have as a cubby. The problem? Yeah, we'll get to it in a little bit. We come back a little bit and we do have the cup holders. Cup holders have been fine, not really that big of a problem. Just be careful with taller cups, because it is going to be a little tougher to kind of put in the cup holder and take out, because of this little opening, or this little part of the dashboard there. We come a little bit back and we have the shifter. The shifter's nice, very Mazda, you know, the shifters we've seen in the other vehicles, and nice leather finish to it. I love it. It's got a great feel. We can go to sport mode, or manual mode really, and go through the gears with no problem. Speaking about sport mode, on the left side we do have the little sport button, which we'll have some fun in, and it's literally sport or off. That's literally what it says. So right now we just have it on off. A little bit back we have our electronic parking brake, and we have our auto hold. It sucks that I can't program the auto hold to always be on. Like when I start up the car, it resets. Let me know, guys, if you guys are Mazda 3 owners, and if I can program that somehow, because that was a big pet peeve of mine, because I do love the auto hold function. Just I hate having to always remember to turn it on. Then a little bit to the right we have the knob, the rotary little knob to go around the menu options in the infotainment screen. Now, yeah, I complained about not having the touchscreen, but I'll tell you this: if I didn't have the touchscreen function, I would opt for having this knob, because it is that good. It is really good at letting me select what I want, and it's really quick, and it has a great feel to it as well. And the other thing as well, it's kind of works like a joystick, so up, down, left, right kind of thing. So it is a nice touch to it as well. We come over to the right and we have the volume knob, which doubles as well as the next track option, which is really cool, to just kind of push the knob over and get it there. I want to say I've been using this knob more than I have my steering wheel, just because it's been a pretty good rewarding thing. I do love the fact that it is closer to the passenger as well, so if they want to use it, they can, but I still have my control. So if they hear a song they like, they can just bring it up without having to reach over or cross over to my driving area, so to speak, here. And then we come back here and we have the armrest, and this is what I was talking to you guys about. With that front little cubby, we open up the armrest so we can slide it back and forth as well, but we open it up and we do have the USB connections here. So the USB connection has to be here, so your phone will essentially have to live inside of the armrest area, which honestly isn't the biggest. I can barely fit a tissue box in here. I had to kind of push it down so that the latch actually catches, but yeah, we have that. We get to the back, and the back is pretty small. So a couple of things: there's not a lot of space. It is a hot hatch, so expect hot hatch size. Yeah. So last, I probably want to say about 2 years ago, when we reviewed the non-turbo, we couldn't fit my son in here because his seat was bigger. He didn't have the booster seat. He didn't have the age for the booster seat. So we had his full-size kid seat. That did not fit in here because I believe it did fit, but it was just really, really uncomfortable. And it was just a really tall seat. And with this, the hatch area in the back was kind of low. So yeah, we didn't like it being that close to my kid's head in the seat, in the kid seat. But when we put him in the booster seat, it's fine. He's able to sit comfortably. His head hits the headrest here. It isn't close to the kind of side of the door. But yeah, everything. Just be aware, it's not make sure your friends are short is what I'm trying to say. and they don't have long legs because it's not the biggest back there. Kind of the similar thing that we had with the Toyota Corolla. So yeah, I mean, again, it's a hot hatch. Then we get to the trunk, and for this being an all-wheel drive model, I was pretty impressed with the fact that we were able to have a deep trunk area, because usually when we have all-wheel drive systems, they take up a lot of space underneath and pushes everything up, and you don't have a depth to your cargo area. Now let's talk performance. We're dealing with the 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 4, cranking out 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to the 6-speed auto, and then with this one being the all-wheel drive, power is going to all 4 wheels. Now, a couple of things with this. That transmission. Now, let's go ahead and put this guy in sport mode. So sport, we'll hold brake, gas it up, and launch. Yeah, couple of things with this. So the engine is peppy. I know that. I've driven other 2.5s, and even with the turbo and without the turbo. Something must be different with this transmission though. It feels long. It feels really long to get it going from literally from first to second, really, even. And what I will say about the engine though is it sounds good. It really sounds good. So we'll switch over to manual mode. It sounds good. Like I said in the CX-50 that we reviewed, that it had the it had a boxer engine sound. This does too. It rumbles that way, but it's really quiet. What I love about it is it's really quiet on when you're not really giving it, but when you do, it sounds good. Now, again, the transmission, I hate the fact that even though I'm in manual mode and in sport mode, I still can't defeat I still can't manually control it. It literally downshifted for me there. So there's really no point to this. I just use my right foot. It's a shame that obviously, well, if you leave it in manual, it'll hold the gear, so it won't upshift in case you are wanting to go make a turn, but it will upshift for you automatically. So it's really no point in having the manual, and yeah, you see it's just shifting for me. So this does have the opposite of the Miata effect. So you are actually going faster than it feels like it. Yeah, there's times where I've been going just to kind of, give it the beans, so to speak. And I look down and I'm like, whoa, I am going way faster than what it looks like. So just be aware and use the heads-up display to tell you, hey, to make it as your warning that you're going, maybe a little bit faster than you should. As far as the power distribution, it's been great. The only thing that was kind of weird, and I'm not feeling it now, and I don't think it was cold tires or anything, but I was in a roundabout. I wasn't even going fast in the roundabout, but the rear end kicked out, and I was in sport mode, but the rear end kicked out, and I was kind of surprised of like, whoa, and I had to correct. And yeah, that was kind of, I don't know if it was tire, and traction control did not kick in, so I don't know. I mean, traction control is still on when you are in sport mode, because I can go ahead and literally turn it off. Yeah. So traction control is still on during sport mode. So it could have just been a one-off, but I did have to kind of correct. And weirdly, that turn that I take right there can sometimes unsettle a car. As far as suspension goes, this has been really nice. The feel to it has been incredible. It's just a really nice, it's a tight package. But what I love about this is, so let me calm down a bit. What I love about this is that it's a stiff, sporty suspension, but it's rewarding. I know I complained about the GR86, but that was unbearable. That was unbearable for everyday driving. With this, it's got that sporty feel, but it knows when to tone it down for bumps. So suspension is just so well set up in this. And yeah, you could really toss this guy around. It's stiffer than the Miata, maybe just a little bit more, but overall this thing has been incredible. It sounds great. This definitely has the it factor. This is what a hot hatch is. Now, again, with a hot hatch, it has to do so much. It has to be quick. It has to be lightweight. It has to be big enough to carry things, carry people, but small enough to still be fun and lightweight. And it's got to have power, but it also has to be fuel efficient. It has to do a lot. And this guy does it a lot. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the 2023 Mazda 3 2.5 liter turbo all-wheel drive hatchback. Yes, you're gonna want to get the hatchback. Remember, find the right gear. See ya.